Today is Tuesday, January 10th, 2017, and today I want to bring you a story coming out of Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. This story involves a few different congressmen, but at the center of the story is a very controversial painting. Now, before I show you the painting and before we get to the clip, I just want to kind of tee it up for you. We have the Congressional Black Caucus who is involved, and the leader of this in this situation is a man named Lacy Clay. He's black and he comes from St. Louis. That's where he's a representative at in the Congress. And you also have one of the congressmen, at least, among others, but the main one here is a man named Duncan Hunter. He is white and he is a Republican coming from San Diego. And he represents some of the San Diego suburbs over in California, of course. Now, this painting was very controversial and it was taken down by Duncan Hunter and put back up by Lacy Clay. Now, what I want to do right now is show you a video. I'm going to show you the actual painting, and I may show some of Duncan Hunter's remarks, and you can kind of see his side of the story. And I'll also place his side of the story in written form in the box below. He wrote like an article on Fox News, so you can kind of read what he said. You can also hear what he said. You can also see the painting, and you can see why the painting is a bad thing. So without further ado, go ahead and roll it.
States.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the rehanging of the very controversial painting on Capitol Hill, the wall on Capitol Hill right there.
It's Cannon Tunnel.
The Cannon Tunnel. That is a painting depicting a police officer as a pig.
You don't have to look into this painting and have an art degree to understand that they're portraying that cop on the left-hand side as a pig. That doesn't take it doesn't take any genius to see what's in the picture there. There's other ways to talk about Ferguson through art and what happened there than putting this in the U.S. Capitol. And so if they put it up, we're going to probably keep taking it down. But I have colleagues on my side now that have been emboldened by my action, and they're probably going to take steps too.
Well, the Congressional Black Caucus is not backing down. In fact, they're stepping up, and they say, well, this kid won a contest, and now that's the winner of a contest with the 450 entries, and that was part of the contest.
Yeah, really, but once again, really strange that the Congressional Black Caucus now stands for portraying cops as pigs in the U.S. Capitol. That does not make sense to me. There's no place for this in the U.S. Capitol, and it's just strange and a very sad commentary again on Democrats that this is what they want to stand for right now. It's interesting.
All right, so you see what's going on here. You see what the kerfuffle is. You see what the ruckus is. You see what's going on. I mean, that painting depicting police officers as pigs that are like, victimizing these black protesters is really out of place. It's really out of place. And, Duncan Hunter was correct to take it down because that right there sends a message that the U.S. government does not have the back of the police who are desperately needed in these black areas where a lot of these so-called protests have broken out. Now, I want to talk about Lacy Clay and his whole response to it and also the CBC. Now, Lacy Clay, who are you really, sir? I've never heard of you before. Are you trying to make yourself more popular? Are you trying to get a higher seat in St. Louis or in the Missouri area or nationally? I don't know who you are. So why make it a big fuss? Why bring the whole CBC to put this painting up? Now, like was said in the video, he won the contest, the person that did the painting, that is. But what contest was that? How badly you can represent the police officers, how much you can disrespect them, how much you can put their lives in danger. Let's be clear. A lot of police officers have died because of rhetoric like this. You saw what happened in Dallas, Texas. You saw it. They said that the guy who killed those officers in Dallas, I think it was 4 or 5 officers, by sniping them, he said that he was upset because of Black Lives Matter. Now, some have tried to twist the words around and they were trying to say, oh, he was upset at Black Lives Matter. No, he was not. The reason why he was mad at the police officers was because of the rhetoric of Black Lives Matter. He said it. He told the police that. So was he lying? Or do you think they were lying? Even if he didn't say it, you obviously know that's what it is. Why would you go out and just snipe 5 innocent officers that were just standing there trying to protect us in the black community, mostly at a protest? And that's my next point. You having this painting on the wall. I guess maybe you think that you got to make a statement. You're trying to make yourself be more important. You're trying to get more attention for yourself. I'm not really sure what the reasoning is, Mr. Lacy Clay. But check this out. You understand that the police are the last bastion of hope in the black community. Without the police, you would have no black community. You would have every black area would be completely overrun by gangs, more than what it is right now. It would not be safe for anybody at all. Right now, it's a little bit of safety in a lot of these high crime areas. It's a little bit because of the police. At least there's some deterrent, a little bit, that the officers are going to be able to come in there and arrest the criminals. And if you do something bad, you go to jail. But without the police, you have total anarchy because there is no men in the actual neighborhood to protect it from the outside forces. Right. The police brutality is low hanging fruit. It does happen, sure, but that's like the lowest of the hanging fruit that is available to pick. It's very low hanging fruit. I mean, you got serious problems in the black community. You got the out of control murder rate. You get the, the single parent households, 80-90%. These kids go out there brainless with no internal locus of control. They have an external locus of control, but the external factor is not there to fulfill that need. So all they do is run off the emotion of their mother. And it's usually the grandmother, really. The mother's probably not even in the picture anyway. It's probably not any parents. There's no dad. The mother might be there. If anything, it's probably the grandma. And the grandma can't do anything with the child. So all he's really going to have is emotionalism from the woman in his family. And then also his testosterone as a man. And then the gangbangers that are out there in the street. You're breeding criminals in these environments. And without police, that'd just be left completely unchecked. And then it will spread more like a virus. Right now, with the police, the virus is kind of being contained, even though they could do more to kind of eliminate the virus. But I won't even talk about that in this video. What I want to talk about is the police being vilified when they are the last line of hope in the black community. There's nothing else. There's no men. The women can't do anything. The grandmas definitely can't do anything. And these little boys and girls that grow up in that environment have no ability to protect themselves or to really do anything to manifest their own destiny. Right. I mean, of course, they got a choice when they start to get older, but at a certain point, you're breeding that kind of environment. All right. So you can't do stuff like this. The white guy actually is looking out for the black community more than you are, Lacy Clay, and the CBC. Now let's talk about the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus. What do they do? What do they do? Really? Can anybody tell me? I've never heard about the CBC doing anything to help black folks. I mean, this right here, hanging that divisive painting up, is going to hurt black folks more than anything. He thinks, and maybe the CBC thinks, that they're doing a good thing, or maybe they're trying to get more attention to themselves, and maybe for himself, he's trying to get a higher office in Missouri, or maybe a higher national office. Maybe he's trying to be the next Barack Obama and say, hey, I can just be a champion in this cause, be a champion of so-called police brutality. It doesn't matter if it backfires and if it gets more black officers killed, like the young lady that was killed in Orlando just the other day by a black predator. And I think it was also another black officer that died en route to that. I think it might have been an accident or something like that. So you got these black predators out here killing black officers, white officers, and everybody else. And you got people of other races kind of like joining in, other degenerate low life animals, like the person that killed those two people in the courthouse. I think that might have been in Michigan. Stuff like that happens when you foster an environment that says police are nothing, that they are just to be abused and killed, and it's not really a big thing. That kind of environment is going to hurt blacks the most, but it hurts all of Americans more than anything. So we know that the CBC does not really do anything, right? I'm in business for myself. I'm a black business. I have been dealing with other black businesses for about 10 years, trying to help them grow and helping them build. And I've been very successful, and as have they. So I know that the CBC does not do anything. The same thing with the Black Chamber of Commerce, NAACP. They do nothing. All they do really is have parties in Washington, D.C. or wherever their city is. They have like a fundraiser party or some kind of black tie gala or something like that. All they do is that. That's it. So maybe they support the black community as far as getting party flyers for their party and buying alcohol from a liquor store if a black person owns it. That's it. They don't do anything really to help. So when they have the label of the CBC, what do they really do? I saw the lady in there with this big church hat on. They strut around like peacocks, self-important, self-absorbed, talking about, look at me. It's narcissism, and it's dangerous because all it does is just hurt us in the black community and as a nation as a whole, not just black folks. So really, this painting is really a shame that it had to take a white person to act on behalf of black people and of the whole nation against this so-called black friendly group, this black centered group. What did they really do? If you're watching this and you know about the CBC, can you tell me what they do? Can you tell me in the comments below, what does the CBC do? I love to know. I love to know. And also the Black Chamber of Commerce, what did they do? Did you even know that a Black Chamber of Commerce existed? I do. I'm aware of them. I've been in business for the past 10 years. I've heard of them. There's also a National Association of Black Journalists. You know, you could say kind of what I do is like journalism, because I write op-eds in the description box all the time, right? I report on stories, but I've never gotten any kind of call from the NABJ. And I've seen Black journalists on TV use some of my key tropes, and I've seen them kind of like copy what I say verbatim, word for word. It ain't just like copying a phrase here and there, which could be a coincidence. I'm talking about copying an entire line of words that I use in a specific way at once. They just take that straight from a video I do and use it in their on TV appearances. But I don't get any kind of call from the NABJ. Now, maybe I will after this video is done as I close, but I doubt it, because they got a certain kind of narrative they want to push. And the narrative is really destructive to the Black community, but it makes them feel good. You know, they can say, hey, I stopped my news organization locally from reporting on Black crime all the time. Meanwhile, you were not reporting on the story that happened close to somebody where they live, and they are not aware of what's happening, and then they can become a victim. Or you report on certain things to make it seem like the police were in the wrong, when in reality it was the other way around, and the person that they were accused of assaulting or whatever was in the wrong. Or it's kind of like inconclusive. You don't really know one way or the other, but you kind of like say little key things, and you send little dog whistles to the Black community that make them think one thing when it's not that way, or cannot be proven that it's that way. Those things hurt the Black community. You saw the whole thing that happened in Chicago with the guy that was disabled, and you saw or you heard what they were saying in the video. F white people, F Donald Trump. This is for 400 years, et cetera, et cetera. Where did that come from? I've heard that all throughout this entire campaign process, and before that, when the Ferguson situation happened. And you see in this painting the Ferguson influence. Look at the guy. I think he has like angel wings on with a green graduation cap. Green is not the normal color of a graduation cap. Why is the color green? Maybe it's because Mike Brown, the infamous hands up, don't shoot lie. That whole situation was, you know, it was painted a certain way in the media when they put his picture out of him wearing a cap and gown, and it was green, right? See, little stuff like that we pick up on in the Black community, and it hurts. So that's pretty much all I got. You know, Lacy Clay and the CBC, you have to be ashamed of yourself. Need to take that painting down. If I was there, I'd burn it. I think what they've been doing is just kind of like just taking it down and removing it, and you know, placing it back in Lacy Clay's office or something like that, so they don't get accused of any kind of theft or anything like that. But if I was there, I'd burn it. And there's somebody do something to me, ain't nobody gonna do nothing. You can't call me a racist. What you gonna do? Lock me up for theft? For what? Of a painting that depicts police as pigs? I don't think any police officer would arrest me on that. Good luck with that. Good luck getting a judge surrounded by cops, a bailiff, and everything else to convict me on that. It ain't gonna happen. So what do you think? Do you think that this was the correct thing to do, to put this painting up on Capitol Hill? Why do you think that's so? Even if you think that police are just the worst thing in the world, why is that appropriate? But do you think I'm correct with my assertion here about how the NAACP, the NABJ, the BCC, you know, all these different groups, the CBC, that they are just pretty much self-serving and they don't do anything in the Black community? I've never heard of them doing anything. And I've been involved with Black business for the past 10 years consistently, helping Black businesses grow, helping Black people grow. That's been part of my whole strategy, not in a racist way, but just trying to do my part as being part of the Black community. That's what I do. I mean, if you look at my phone right now, I probably got hundreds of contacts that are in Black business right now. Yes, I have a BlackBerry because this is what I do. This is what I use to get business. You know, I got my tablet here for other stuff, to play games and stuff like that. But nah, I'm really in business for real. And nowhere in that BlackBerry do I have anybody from the CBC, the NABJ, the NAACP, or anybody else, because they never contacted me. They never contacted anybody I know. I know hundreds of people that are Black in business. I've never heard about any of them benefiting from any of those organizations that I mentioned. But if you have, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.